Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. How are you all today? It's a beautiful day, 17 degrees out there. Supposed to get up to a balmy 22 or something like that. I'll be out here in an hour or so, climbing ladders and putting up Christmas lights all day long. It'll be a great day. At least the sun's out. That made me think about some things that something I just saw in the news today, and other people have been talking about it, but I haven't, and so I will, and that is the possibility of upcoming blackouts this winter time. We know that the reports of fuel shortages, of heating oil shortages, of the stresses on our grids. There are three major grids in the United States. The stresses on those, they have been stressed this summer, and they're only getting older. There are some real dangers, apparently. I just read the latest report for one of these national blah, blah, blahs, that goes by their acronym. I don't even remember which it was. There's a bunch of them around, and it doesn't matter. Although I know it would probably make me seem a lot smarter if I rattled off the name of it. It doesn't matter. What matters is the possibility of the blackouts. If there are blackouts, whether they are rolling blackouts, whether they are planned blackouts, whether they are emergency and non-planned blackouts, it doesn't matter. The reality of the situation would be there's a blackout, which means you got no lights, you got no heat, and depending on what you use as a heating source. But most people, rely on gas and electricity delivered by a gas and electricity provider. Most people don't, heat their homes with wood stoves and things like that. And for those of you who do, good for you. You're going to be fine. And I have lived in places like, it wasn't my place, my grandparents, they heated their whole house down on the farm with a wood stove in the kitchen and a fireplace in the front room and some holes in the grate above the kitchen, above the stove, to let the warm air kind of seep up into the second floor bedrooms. And so I'm familiar with that. I should say that because I had somebody say, I'll get back to this in just a second, how to do it or how to prepare for this. I had somebody say yesterday on one of my videos, she says, "You have become completely irrelevant to me because you are not talking about the things that I need to know about." She says, "People who are not on your economic level, you keep talking to people who are above a lot of us." I'm sorry that they took it that way. She's pretty rude, so she got rude after that. But what a silly thing to say. I mean, you have no idea what economic level I'm on. Maybe you do to an extent. I mean, that, you can tell a little bit about it, but that's not the situation. And nor do you know the steps that I took to get from one economic level to another, except that I worked my ass off. Okay, so there's that, as they say. But no, the advice about this preparedness, and I think what it was one. It wasn't on yesterday. Maybe it was one about getting better, developing your ability, and that's what preparedness should always. That's what your life should be about, not just preparedness. You should constantly be improving, and so no matter what level you are at, which you are currently. I almost ended a sentence with I guess I can end a clause with a preposition, can't I? No matter what level you're at, you always want to be striving to get to a better level of preparedness or a better level of life. And that doesn't mean money. I mean, sometimes money can be used, it can be applied towards that, but it doesn't mean, your quality of life is not dependent on money. It is dependent on a number of other things, some of which money can provide you an avenue toward. Okay, so let's get off of that. But I think I just threw that in because, hey, I have lived all different levels of life. I have lived a winter without heat. Okay. Oh, a winter, other people have grown up. Yes, I know. How many of you out there have lived in a winter without heat in a building that was built in the 1870s? Okay. And I had to manufacture my own heat. I talked a little bit about that. So yeah, I'm very aware of all these things. So let's go back. That was just make kind of an interlude of me explaining. Yes, I understand. If you think I'm out of touch, I'm not. I just have many layers of being in touch. Okay, if we have this, if there are blackouts, and you should be preparing for this because you never know. Look at the people and look what happened in Texas during the freeze down there. You want to live 3 weeks, without any power? I have. Okay, so let's talk about that. Get ready now. How do you get ready? First off, do you have the warm clothes that you need? Okay, if you don't have, and some people, it kind of depends on what lifestyle you live. People that work outside, linemen, ranchers, farmers, things like that, they tend to have very warm clothes. People who spend most of their time in an office or a business, it doesn't make them less of a person, nor does it make them necessarily less prepared in other areas, but they may not be as prepared in this. Maybe their warm clothes is ski clothes, okay? It doesn't make them a bad person because their warm clothes is for skiing instead of feeding the cattle. But some people are more attuned to that outside lifestyle in a sustained way. So if you don't, make sure, tighten up. You and for all the kids and everything, like everybody has some good. Do you have clothes that you could live in without shelter? Do you have clothes that provide shelter themselves? Okay, maybe I'll get into that. I mean, I'm going to be out all day today. It's 17 degrees. It's going to get down colder than that. I could live in the clothes that I wear out there. It would be my shelter. I don't really have to come inside, to be honest. And many of you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't, start tightening up. Look for, make sure that you have got the clothing you need, and that means underlayment and thick wool socks. And not just wool, but a lot of polyesters, polar fleece, all sorts of things. I won't try to list that. You're smart. You can find out, get all the warm stuff. Now, if you don't have it for this winter, better get it. But when you really get this stuff is at the end of the season. In February, everybody's going to be clearing out all of their winter stuff, all their warm clothes. That's when I buy gobs of it. Okay, I think I told the story that some years ago, Academy was clearing out its base layers. They're usually $14.99 for like 99 cents. I probably bought 100, and I bought sets for the kids at each age, not just the ages they were, but the ages they were going to be. I still have packages up there that I haven't opened up. And this was years and years and years ago. They're going to have sales on stocking caps and on gloves and on parkas and on fleeced lined everything. That's when you buy it. So set a little money aside as a long-term preparedness plan that in February, have some money. Don't spend all your money right now. Have some money so that when those sales come out, you can buy them, not just for the next year, but really have a long-term, okay, now I'm set. I've got the warm clothing. I don't have to think about that anymore, okay? Secondly, if you don't have Sub-Zero sleeping bags, that is a good investment. That is a good investment. You can sleep in a cold house if you've got a Sub-Zero sleeping bag and feel just fine, because the house is going to keep the wind off of you, and those things are snuggly. If you want to be more snuggly and you got somebody to snuggle with, get a husband and wife one. Because I say that because this is a traditional channel. Now, if the power goes out and you don't have any heat in your house, because I've done this too, you should have roll plastic. Get some thick roll plastic. Some people have used those kind of window insulation kits. They're not very thick. Some people have used painters drop cloths, the cheap ones. Those aren't very thick anyway. You can get some pretty thick in rolls. They have them at fabric shops. They have them a lot of different places. Pretty thick. What's it called? What I'm trying to think. Well, it's clear film type of stuff to put over your windows. That's going to be doubly insulating those windows. So much heat is lost. There's no such thing, and remember this, there's no such thing as cold. It's actually an absence of warmth. Okay, so what you want to be able to do is provide some warmth inside and then keep that warmth from leaving. Okay, so by double insulating your windows. Think now that if everything goes out, think about a place in your house. Do you have a 3,000 square foot house? You're not going to be able to live. It's going to be very uncomfortable living in that 3,000 or 4,000 square foot house. And here again, I say this, somebody's going to say, not all of us live in 3,000 foot. Okay, do you live in a 1,200 square feet house? It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't make you better than somebody that lives in a 3,000 square foot house. It doesn't make them better than you. So relax. Whatever your house is, designate a place that this is going to be the living area, okay? And really insulate that well. This is going to be the area that when we come in from work or we come in from outside, we're not going to live in all this cold house. This is the main place we're all going to stay. And then you can heat it. You'd be surprised how much heat you can put out with some candles. A little buddy heater. You should have one of those, Mr. Buddy, whatever it is. I've got one. I forget what it's called. Kelly's taking it today. She's got an outside crafts festival she's going to be at. It's going to be colder than it can be, so she's taking the little buddy heater. You can crank it up. You can heat an area up real nice and toasty with that. Designate what bathroom's going to be used for the most part. You can't take a... Well, I'm not going to get into that because some people are going to say, we don't have that. And then think about, I'm going to do a couple of things. Have you seen the flower pot heaters? There are some people out there that say they don't work. They do work. I've used them. I'll do a video on that. There's also something else that I use. I'm not going to get into all that. I don't really have time today. After I'm done with the Christmas light season in a couple of weeks, I'll do a couple of these warming things. But just think about the different ways. You can find a lot on YouTube. Different ways to warm places. And if you've insulated well enough and you're dressed right, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be a lot better off than those people that came across and lived in log cabins without fireplaces, right? Do you have a fireplace? Do you have a wood-burning fireplace? Do you have the wood ready to go in it? Now, a lot of people, say you live in the suburbs, a lot of people don't have wood-burning rated fireplaces. Not every fireplace is rated to burn wood. A lot of them are more decorative. A lot of them are gas. We have both. We have a wood-burning rated one that we actually use gas. It's just handier. But if I need to convert it over to wood, it's an easy fix. I just take the stuff out, put in the wood, and it's fine. That's in our family room when we have a gas fireplace in the master bedroom. But if you can burn wood, that's great. Do you have a source of wood? I've got woods, 2 blocks from me. I could keep myself in wood for years and never have to cut a live tree. It's almost like living in the woods. I've got so many woods close to me. You can do that. There's a way to do that. But even if you can't burn wood, gas fireplaces actually put off a lot of heat if they're constructed well, and you can get inserts. We had friends of ours who, you could barely get within that. I forget what they had, some kind of recirculating thing. You can put that insert in a gas fireplace, and it'll heat your house. Think about that. By the way, if those little Mr. Buddy or Mr. Heater or whatever it is, make sure you got plenty of the gas canisters that you're going to need. Stock up on that. You'll if you don't use them this winter, you'll use them for something. Do you have plenty of propane for your grills and things? You may find that you're going to be out cooking on your grill if you've got a grill. Can you go out and cook on a campfire in your backyard? If you've got the wood, you can. I won't show you a picture of my backyard, but you'd think I lived in the country. And I don't. So think of all those things. Get ready for it. This really is, and make sure that you have plenty of food that is easily prepared. Okay, a lot of canned stuff, Progresso soup and rice and all sorts of things. Those a lot of those comfort foods, those winter foods, are pretty easy to make. Really, you can make biscuits in. Hang on half a second. Okay, sorry, something needed my attention. You can make biscuits in a Dutch oven. You can make biscuits in a pan. You can do all sorts of things. Try, go back to the old ways. Start watching YouTubes right now about easy way to cook things. Get ready for that. So, if the grid goes down for whatever reason, purposefully, accidentally, rolling blackouts, they decide that you're using too much energy. Hey, adapt, right? Adapt. There's plenty of resources right now. If you plan right, if you think ahead, you're going to be ready, and then it's just going to be an inconvenience that sometimes, I'll be honest, and some of you know this, it can be a little bit of fun. It can be fun, and it draws people closer together. Some of my favorite memories have been of times where, it started off cold, and the family came together, and we blanketed off just stayed in one big room and played games and talked and kind of lived the old ways for a while. Sometimes it can have a mentally beneficial effect on you. So anyway, like my kids said in their video, don't be scared, be prepared. The more prepared you are, the less scared you have to be. So get ready for it. It could be coming. And if it does, there's going to be a big difference between those who are prepared and those who aren't, and what kind of life they live. So make a checklist, see what you can do, and get ready. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. I didn't even tell you about my books. Oh well. If you wanted to get my books, I was going to read something out of this. I won't, though. If you want to get my books, there's the first one, Reversion. The rest of them are the Stonemont series. The links are down there below. How to get them either through through Amazon and either paperback or Kindle, or how to get autographed copies from me. It's probably too late to get autographed copies from me for Christmas gifts. But you can, if you're thinking about doing that as a gift for somebody, Amazon can get them to you pretty quick. And the way to get to us over on Patreon is also down there. We'd love to have you. Join us as a patron over there. The link is down there, how to get to patron. And I think that pretty much does it. Remember, like I say, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So get out there and prepare. Think about how to prepare. Prepare for a grid down so that you will live well in case it does. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.